Good day, everyone. I am Markinet Tagargan from BSED Mathematics 2. What is existentialism? Existentialism is a form of philosophical inquiry that explores the problem of human existence and centers on the life experience of the thinking, feeling, and acting individual. Existentialism is a movement in philosophy and literature that emphasizes individual existence, freedom, and choice. It began in the mid to late 19th century but reached its peak in mid 20th century France. It is based on the view that humans define their own meaning in life and try to make rational decisions despite existing an unrational universe. It focuses on the questions of human existence and the feeling that there is no purpose or explanation at the core of existence. It holds that, as there is no God or any other transcendent force, the only way to counter this nothingness is by embracing existence. Thus, existentialism believes that individuals are entirely free and must take personal responsibility for themselves, and emphasizes action, freedom, and decision as fundamental and rising above the essentially absurd condition of humanity. Nature of existentialist thought and manner. According to existentialism, existence is always particular and individual. Always my existence, your existence, his existence, and her existence. Existence is primarily the problem of existence, example of its mood of being. It is therefore also the investigation of the meaning of being. That investigation is continually faced with diverse possibilities, from among which the existent, example the human individual, must make a selection to which he must then commit himself. Because those possibilities are constituted by the individual's relationships with things and with other humans. Existence is always a being in the world, and a concrete and historical determined situation that limits or conditions choice. Humans are therefore called, and Martin Heidegger praised their being, because they are defined by the fact that they exist or are in the world and inhabit it. With respect to the first point, that existence is particular, existentialism is opposed to any doctrine that views human beings as the manifestation of an absolute or of an infinite substance. It is thus opposed to most forms of idealism, such as those that stress consciousness, spirit, reason, idea, or oversoul. Second, it is opposed to any doctrine that sees in human beings some given and complete reality and must be resolved into its elements in order to be known or contemplated. It is thus opposed to any form of objectivism or scientism, since those approaches stress the crush reality of external fact. Third, existentialism is opposed to any form of necessitarianism, or for existence is constituted by possibilities from among which the individual may choose and through which he can project himself. And finally, with respect to the third point, existentialism is opposed to any solipsism, or holding that I alone exist, or any epistemological idealism, or holding that the objects of knowledge are mental, because existence, which is the relationship with other beings, always extends beyond itself. toward the being of those entities it is, so to speak, transcendence. Themes in existentialism. First, importance of the individual. Existentialism states that our lives have no inherent meaning or purpose, but rather it is the purpose we create for our lives that gives them a sense of meaning. This meaning is only present in our consciousness. However, the universe or God doesn't care what you're doing. Second, importance of choice. So the point will be that existential choices are manifests as general attitudes toward the world that both function as a background for and are actualized by specific choices between options. Such attitudes are choices because we are in part responsible for them and because they are modifiable. Third one is anxiety regarding life, death, contingencies, and extreme situations. Whether referred to as an existential crisis or existential anxiety, the main concerns are the same: that life is inherently pointless, that our existence has no meaning because there are limits or boundaries on it, and that we all must die someday. Existential anxiety is all about our existence in life, and it involves insecurity about big issues such as life meaning, freedom, and our inevitable death. This type of anxiety might be triggered by growing or older or facing climate change or difficult political situation. Fourth one is meaning and absurdity. The pursuit of created meaning is possible with existentialism, and that is its goal. While existentialism's goal is the creation of one's essence, absurdism is just about embracing the absurd or meaningless in life and simultaneously rebelling against it and embracing what life can offer us. In short, the difference between existentialism and absurdism comes in their solution to finding meaning in life. They both agree that the universe is inherently meaningless, but existentialism states that we must create our own meaning. This tension is what gives rise to the absurd. Number 5 is authenticity. In existentialism, authenticity is a degree to which a person's actions are congruent with his or her values and desires, despite external pressures to social conformity. In every human activity, personal authenticity extends the instructions of the Oracle of Delphi. Don't merely know thyself, be thyself. Existential authenticity refers to a state of being, rather than essentialist, objective quality. As a result, research that has engaged this concept has focused on emotions, sensations, relationships, and a sense of self. Number 6 is social criticism. On the line of criticism holds that the emphasizes on individual freedom and the rejection of absolutes in existentialism tends to undermine ethics by suggesting that every life is absurd and by denying the existence of fixed, binding principles for evaluating our actions. Existentialists promote an anything goes. The key problems for existentialism are those of the individual himself, of his situation in the world, and of his more ultimate significance. Number 7 is importance of personal relations. As existentialist concept, existential self may combine self as doer and self as object in one stroke. The existential self is both what the individual does and what he is, or put another way, selfhood is what the individual puts into action. In this way, one cannot be defined without an other, or in this phrase, or a close friend. When one loses their other, they also lose a large part of their identity and fall into despair, which leads to an existential crisis. Number 8 is atheism and religion. Atheistic existentialism is the exclusion of any transcendental, metaphysical, or religious beliefs from philosophical existentialist thought. This freedom, in turn, produces anxiety and fear because without God, humanity is left alone and without an external source of direction or purpose. Thus, the existentialist perspective fits with atheism well because existentialism advocates an understanding of the world where gods simply have no great role to play.